One of the big things that we can expect from the next administration is trying to bring back expanded expedited removal. Expedited removal is when someone is deported without due process and without the opportunity to see an immigration judge. This usually happens at the border or within 100 miles of the border. And the consequence is that person is barred from returning to the U.S. for 5 years. Expanded expedited removal is exactly what it sounds like. It's expanded to cover the entire U.S., not just around the border. And it applies to people who meet 3 requirements. One is that they entered the U.S. without inspection, so they entered without permission. 2 is that they do not have any kind of lawful status in the U.S. And 3 is that they can't prove that they've been in the U.S. for 2 years or more. So, for example, if someone entered the U.S. without permission but has an asylum application pending, they are not subject to expanded expedited removal. But if someone entered the U.S. without permission recently and they have an I-130 pending, they will be subject to expanded expedited removal because an I-130, like an I-601A, does not give lawful status in the U.S. So the question is, what can you carry to prove that you've been in the U.S. for 2 years or more? Well, unfortunately, people are going to have to start carrying documents around, like in a binder or a portfolio or something. And if you keep them at home, make sure that your family members know where they are. Documents could include utility bills, school records, kids' school records, marriage certificate, kids' birth certificates, employment records, and tax returns, as long as the ITIN number on there is yours and valid. The one thing to remember about expedited removal and expanded expedited removal is that if someone expresses a fear of returning to their home country, then the deportation officer or ICE officer has to refer them to the asylum officer, to an asylum officer, to be interviewed on their fear. This is called a credible fear interview. So if you have a fear of returning to your home country and you are in contact with a deportation officer and you may be subject to expedited removal or expanded expedited removal, make sure that you voice that you are scared to go back to your home country. And then you'll be referred to an asylum officer and you'll have an interview. People who have legal status, U.S. citizens, green card holders, asylees, it's still very highly recommended that you keep proof of your legal status on you at all times, because we know that the U.S. government racially profiles, and you want to be able to show, yes, I have a green card, here it is. Actually, it's the law anyway that green card holders need to be carrying their green cards at all times. But for example, if you have asylum, you'll want to carry your approval notice or the immigration judge's order. If you have an asylum case pending, even if you entered the U.S. without permission, you should keep a copy of your hearing notice and a copy of your receipt notice for your I-589 on you at all times. We don't know how the Trump administration will bring back expanded expedited removal, but at a minimum, people who may be covered by the policy should get their documents ready so that they have them if needed.